They say doing the right thing doesn't pay. That's not true. Sometimes it pays in ways you never asked for and never stop carrying. They say heroism is just doing the right thing when nobody's looking. But I wasn't trying to be a hero that day. I was just trying not to lose another delivery. It was a Tuesday. The kind of Tuesday that felt like a leftover Monday, gray skies, frigid wind, and the smell of diesel hanging in the air. My name's Danny Reyes. I deliver for Dash Swift. No benefits, no union, no glory. Just an app that pings when you're late and pays just enough to keep your tires bald. I was headed up Crescent Drive, rich neighborhood, the kind where lawns have better health insurance than I do. Order was sushi. $32 of raw fish and ginger wrapped in biodegradable packaging. I'd already had 2 cancellations that morning. If I missed another, the algorithm would ice me for the rest of the day. No pings, no money. So when I saw the smoke, I almost didn't stop. It wasn't dramatic at first. Just a thin wisp trailing out from behind a house up the block. Could have been a barbecue. A fireplace. I even told myself that. Kept driving. 10 feet. 15. Then I heard it. A scream. Short. Sharp. High-pitched. I slammed the brakes. The sushi bag toppled onto the floorboard, soy sauce packets scattering like confetti. I didn't care. By the time I got to the sidewalk, the smoke had thickened. It came from the side of a pale blue colonial, big porch, bay windows, Christmas lights still clinging to the gutters like drunk regrets. I pounded on the door. Hello? Anyone inside? Nothing. I ran around back. That's when I saw her, maybe 5 or 6 years old, blonde curls, standing inside the living room with her palms against the glass. She wasn't screaming now, just staring. Frozen. Behind her, orange started licking the hallway like it was tasting the air. Shit, I muttered. I tried the back door. Locked? Of course. I found a patio chair and smashed the window. Glass exploded inward. She jumped. Hey, I shouted. Come here. Come to me. She didn't move. Eyes wide. Smoke coiling above her like it was trying to whisper something awful. I climbed in. The heat hit like a slap. Dry. Fast. My lungs seized instantly. Come on, kid. We gotta go. She didn't answer. Just trembled. I dropped to one knee. Hey, what's your name? Nothing. My name's Danny. I coughed. I'm gonna get you out. But you gotta help me, okay? She nodded. Barely. I'm gonna carry you. Just hold on, all right? She stepped forward. I scooped her up. The smoke thickened as I turned. Fire was climbing the drapes. I couldn't see the window anymore, just heat and flickers. I turned left. The front hall was gone. Swallowed. Only one shot. I turned back. Kicked at the broken window's edge to clear the shards. Then I climbed out. Scraped my arm bad on the sill. Didn't feel it. Outside, she started coughing. I laid her on the grass and slapped my phone. 911. Busy. No joke. Busy. I tried again. It rang. Emergency services. Fire. 229 Crescent Drive. Kid was inside. I got her out. House is going up. Is she breathing? Yeah. Barely. Send someone. I hung up and looked down. She was staring at me. Eyes like cracked porcelain. Then she whispered, my mom. I blinked. What? She went upstairs. I looked at the house. Smoke now pouring out of the upper windows. Flames licking the eaves. I took one step toward it. Then another. That's when I heard the sirens. Not near. Far. Too far. I turned back to the girl. Wait here, I said. And I ran back in. There's a line in your head where logic ends and instinct grabs the wheel. I crossed that line the second I stepped back into the burning house. Heat is a liar. It doesn't feel like in the movies. It doesn't roar, it hisses. It pushes against you, squeezes every breath, smothers every thought. Smoke thick as velvet filled the air, and all I had was the sleeve of my hoodie over my face. Hello? I yelled, half a cough. Is anyone up there? The stairs groaned under my weight. Each step a dare. The banister was hot enough to brand skin. I kept one hand on the wall for balance, plaster flaking off like dead skin. Halfway up, the ceiling above me cracked, just a small sound, but enough to stop me cold. That's when I saw the light, flickering behind a half-opened door at the top. Ma'am, I shouted. Still no answer. I hit the landing like a drunk, tripped on a rug, and slammed shoulder first into the wall. The door ahead was half closed. Flames dancing on the far end of the room. A figure moved through the smoke, slow, unsure. Ma'am, I'm here to help. She turned, pale, confused, breathing like someone already half drowned. I can't find her, she said. I stepped in, grabbed her arm. She's safe. I got her out. Her eyes widened like that one word brought her back. You got. Yes, I said, yanking her toward the hallway. We have to move. We didn't make it 5 feet before the floor groaned loud, like something giving up. No, I pulled her back just as the floor behind us dropped with a scream of splintered wood and flame. The hallway vanished into fire. The stairs were gone. No way out. I kicked open a nearby door. Closet. Another. Bedroom. 2 windows. No ladder. No porch. Just the roof. I grabbed a chair, smashed the window, and pointed. Out. We're going out. She hesitated. I didn't. I climbed through and stepped onto the roof shingles, slippery with ash. Smoke curled around me like a threat. The woman followed, barefoot. I kept her close, one hand gripping her elbow as we crept along the roof line to the front side of the house. That's when I saw them. People on the sidewalk. Neighbors. Phones up. Recording. I shouted, hey, ladder. Somebody get a ladder. One guy ran toward a pickup truck. Another bolted back into a garage. A woman screamed into her phone, crying and pacing. Below us, the flames had reached the porch. The roof beneath our feet was warming fast, too fast. I grabbed her arm tighter. If no one gets a ladder in the next 30 seconds, we jump. She shook her head. We won't make it. We'll have to. Below, I saw someone dragging a folding ladder, too short. Another ran up with a pull net. It was chaos. That's when I saw a mattress. Someone had tossed a twin-size mattress from a garage. It landed awkward on the lawn, half on the walkway, half on a bush. It wasn't perfect, but it was something. I turned to her. We jump. Now. No. I didn't give her a choice. I grabbed her hand. We jumped. She hit the mattress, rolled, and screamed. Pain, but alive. I missed it. Hit the ground shoulder first. White-hot pain lanced through my collarbone. Something popped. Breathing turned into a chore. But I was alive. Sirens screamed in the distance, growing louder. I lay on my back, watching the flames devour the upstairs window we'd just crawled through. Then the girl. She was there again. She crawled over to me. Tears streaked down her soot-stained cheeks. You saved her, she whispered. People were gathering now. Phone still up. Voices raised. She just ran in there. No, he pulled her out. What's his name? I tried to sit up. Failed. Everything spun. And from the chaos, a voice broke through. Deep. Calm. Commanding. I'm her father. I'd seen his face before. Not in person. On billboards. Business magazines. Some ad in a subway station about biotech or real estate. One of those industries where money begets more money and names become brands. He knelt beside the girl and the woman, arms wrapped tight around both of them. The fire behind us cracked like distant thunder, sirens closing in fast. The man looked up at me. His eyes, piercing, unreadable, landed hard. You pulled them both out? I nodded, barely. His gaze didn't leave mine. What's your name? Danny, I muttered. My throat burned. Danny Reyes. I don't know what I expected. Maybe a handshake, maybe nothing. What I got was a look I'll never forget. A mix of disbelief, gratitude, and calculation. Ambulance is here, someone shouted. Paramedics swarmed. Oxygen masks. Neck braces. Questions I couldn't fully answer. My shoulder was definitely out, maybe worse. But I refused the stretcher. She's okay, right? I asked, pointing toward the girl. The paramedic nodded. You did good, man. Real good. As they wheeled the mother into the back of the ambulance, I saw the man again, still holding the girl. His wife unconscious, soot on his blazer, but he looked like he hadn't aged a minute. He walked straight to me. Give me your number, he said. I blinked. What? Your number? You just saved my family. I hesitated. I don't do this for. I don't care what you do it for. I want your number. I gave it to him. He typed it into his phone, hit save, and stared at the screen like it owed him something. Then he nodded, turned, and got into the ambulance with his daughter. That was it. No dramatic speech. No cameras. Just a quiet departure with a 1,000-pound promise hanging in the air. I limped back to my car. The sushi was still there, though one of the soy sauce packets had exploded and soaked the passenger seat. Delivery canceled. Account flagged. Another blow from the algorithm gods. Didn't matter. I went home, sat in my kitchen, popped my shoulder back into place like I'd done twice before in high school wrestling. Then I just stared at the wall for hours. Replay after replay of the fire. The scream. Her face in the window. The heat. The jump. The girl's whisper. You saved her. By nightfall, my phone buzzed. Unknown number. I picked up. Danny Reyes? The voice asked. Yeah. This is Natalie from Channel 8. We heard what happened today on Crescent Drive. Are you available for an interview? I hung up. 20 minutes later, another number called. And another. Somehow, word had gotten out. I opened my door to take out the trash. There were reporters on my lawn. A neighbor filmed from across the street. The clip made it to local news. By morning, it was national. The next morning, I woke to 43 unread messages and a blistering headache. My phone buzzed so much overnight, it practically vibrated off the counter. First message, my sister. Danny, turn on the news. Now. Second, my old boss at the Courier company I quit 2 years ago. Did you really run into a burning house? Third, a stranger. You're a goddamn hero. Respect. I stumbled to the couch, turned on the TV. Channel 8. Midday segment. They were calling it the Crescent Street Rescue. There was drone footage of the house, still smoldering. Then shaky cell phone video. Me, climbing out of a second-story window with the woman, dropping onto the lawn. Another angle showed me jumping out with the little girl. Blood on my sleeve. My face caught mid-shout. Underneath, a headline. Unknown courier risked life to save family. They didn't even get my name right. Just unknown courier. I should have felt angry. Or proud. Or something. But I just sat there, staring. It didn't feel real. It felt like I'd watched someone else live my life for a day. That afternoon, a guy in a suit showed up at my door. Pressed shirt, shiny shoes, little Bluetooth in one ear. Mr. Reyes? Who's asking? I work for Mr. Charles Sutherland. That made my stomach shift. The name I remembered from the ambulance. The man with the daughter. The billionaire. He'd like to meet you. Privately. I squinted. Why? He says you saved his world. And he wants to return the favor. I didn't have time to change. Just threw on a jacket and got in the back of a black SUV that smelled like citrus and leather so smooth it made me sit up straighter. We drove for 30 minutes through parts of the city I'd never seen up close. The kind where street names don't appear on Google Maps and gates don't open unless someone whispers your name through a hidden speaker. His house was a mansion. No, more than that. A fortress made of glass and marble and money. The kind of place that didn't just sit on a hill, it stared down at the rest of us. They led me through 2 security checkpoints, a hallway longer than my apartment complex, and into a private study. He was there, waiting. Same calm presence. Different clothes. Crisp. Tailored. Like nothing rattled him. Danny, he said, standing. Sit. I did. He poured me a glass of water himself. Didn't offer staff. Just 2 men sitting in a room that smelled like cedar and old decisions. My wife's recovering, he said. And my daughter hasn't let go of that stuffed penguin you carried her out with. I hadn't realized I grabbed it. Just instinct. Look, I said. I didn't do it for thanks. He held up a hand. I know. Then he slid an envelope across the table. I didn't touch it. He kept his eyes on me. I don't believe in luck, he said. But I do believe in patterns. And people who act with courage when there's nothing in it for them. They're rare. I don't let rare things go unnoticed. I opened the envelope. Inside, a check. I stared, then blinked. $250,000. My breath caught. I can't, I started. Yes, he said calmly. You can. It's yours. No strings. You saved my family. I'm simply making sure you have the freedom to choose your life, instead of survive it. He stood. Meeting over. Just like that. I left his mansion in the same SUV, the envelope still in my hand like it might vanish if I blinked. At the first red light, I finally spoke to the driver. Is this normal? He chuckled once. No, sir. Nothing about this is. For the first time in my adult life, I didn't wake up worrying about money. Rent? Covered. Gas? Paid. Shoulder? Still sore as hell, but I'd finally gotten it checked out. Torn ligaments? Nothing surgical. Physical therapy booked for next week. But money doesn't buy clarity. It just buys silence. And silence has a way of turning up the volume on every thought you've been ducking. The news cycle didn't move on as fast as I thought. Every day, another segment. The Courier hero. The dash swift savior. Even a daytime talk show played the footage in slow motion, voiceover dripping with dramatics. I didn't watch much of it, but it kept finding me anyway. People started showing up at my door. Neighbors. Reporters. Strangers. A woman from some media agency tried to hand me a sponsorship contract. We could get you free sneakers for life. Like that was supposed to mean something. I didn't want sneakers. I wanted quiet. But fame doesn't whisper, it shouts. And that week, it started getting louder. Thursday morning, I got a call from my old friend Marcus. We hadn't spoken in over a year. Danny, he said, are you rich now or something? What? No. People are talking, man. Someone said you got $500,000 from that Sutherland guy. Not even close. Well, you're not denying he gave you something. I paused. That pause was the real answer, and we both knew it. Damn, he said. He hung up without saying goodbye. That night, I got tagged in a post on a local forum. It read, saw the guy who saved that could pull up in a new Honda Accord. Funny how quick people get generous when there's cameras around. That hit harder than I expected, because I didn't care what strangers thought. But I did care about the implication, that maybe I hadn't done it for the right reasons. That maybe, just maybe, I'd crossed some invisible line between hero and opportunist and never even noticed. I didn't sleep that night. I went for a drive instead. No destination. Just city lights and questions I didn't want to answer. By sunrise, I ended up on Crescent Drive. What was left of the house still stood barely. Charred beams. Blackened siding. Police tape fluttering in the breeze like a broken promise. Someone had left flowers on the lawn. Stuffed animals. A hand-painted sign that read, "Thank you, Danny." I stood there, staring at it. And for the first time in days, I felt something real. Not panic. Not pressure. Just gratitude. Pure and unfiltered. And then, I heard a voice behind me. You really did it, huh? I turned. It was the girl's mother. Bandages on one arm. Scars just beginning to pink in. But she smiled. I've been trying to find you, she said. Charles said you were keeping a low profile. I shrugged. Just trying to stay out of the spin cycle. She nodded, then reached into her coat pocket. From her, she said, holding out a small crumpled note. It was written in crayon. 5 words. You are my brave friend. I almost lost it right there on the sidewalk. But I held it together. We stood in silence for a minute. Then she said, you didn't just save us. You reminded people this city still is hard. She stepped closer. You gave something away in that fire. Let us give something back. I frowned. I already got the check. She smiled. This isn't money. Then she handed me a business card. I read it and blinked. Is this? Yes, she said. You're hired. Full-time. Benefits. Real work. We want people like you on the ground, not just on the news. I read the title again. Community Emergency Outreach Liaison, City Resilience Task Force. My mouth opened. No words came out. She just grinned. Told you, she said. You're more than a courier now. A week later, I put on a collared shirt for the first time in years. Not for a date. Not for court. But for a job I didn't apply for and honestly never saw coming. The City Resilience Task Force met in an old municipal building downtown, just off Monroe. Brick walls, buzz-in doors, badge entry. The kind of place you walk past 100 times and never once wonder what happens inside. Now I knew. It wasn't glamorous. No slick offices or chrome nameplates. Just workstations, coffee rings on paperwork, and people who gave a damn. Social workers, EMTs, ex-cops, volunteers, each with their own story of something they'd run toward when most people ran away. My first assignment? Emergency liaison for post-disaster intake. Translation: I'd be the guy who showed up when the worst happened, asked the right questions, and made sure families had food, clothes, and somewhere to go. It wasn't sexy, but it mattered. And for once, I felt like I mattered, too. They gave me a desk, a name badge, a phone that didn't buzz with spam or scams, just real people needing real things. I kept the girl's crayon note pinned to the divider. You are my brave friend. It reminded me why I showed up. And every time I thought about that fire, I didn't think about the smoke or the pain or the moment I almost didn't stop. I thought about her face in that window. The city moved fast after that. I got invited to events, panels, a podcast. Someone asked me to do a TEDx talk. I said no. I wasn't a speaker. I was a guy with burned sneakers and a permanent ache in his left shoulder. But the story? It had legs. And it ran faster than I ever could. One night, 2 months in, I was walking back to my car after a long intake shift at a shelter. Windy night. Smelled like salt and cold metal. I was halfway across the lot when someone stepped out of the shadows. Tall. Broad. Suit. My stomach tensed, just for a second, old reflex. But then he spoke. You're a hard man to reach. I turned slowly. The guy looked like security, or something more polished than that. Can I help you? He smiled, polite but unreadable. Someone wants to see you. Again. I didn't ask who. I already knew. They picked me up the next morning. Same SUV. Same leather smell. Same driver. We drove farther this time, outside city limits. Trees. Snow. Gates that buzzed open like a magic trick. This wasn't Charles Sutherland's house. This was his retreat. A cabin with a view of a lake that looked like a mirror held up to the sky. Glass and wood and stone. He met me on the porch. No blazer this time. Just jeans. Sweater. Mug of something that steamed. Thought you'd say no, he said. I almost did. He smiled. That's why I knew you'd show. We went inside. Fire burning low. Classical music playing so softly it felt like memory, not sound. I didn't bring you here to thank you again, he said. Okay. I brought you here because I think you've got more to give. I blinked. I'm already working. I know. But I'm not talking about a job. I'm talking about legacy. That word sat heavy. He sipped his drink. I run 3 foundations. I sit on the board of 7 more. But we're always behind. Always reactive. I want something else. I want a program that teaches people what to do before the fire comes. I nodded slowly. You want prevention. I want resilience, he said. From the ground up. Community-driven. And I want you to help build it. Why me? He shrugged. Because you understand fear. And you didn't freeze. I didn't answer right away. Because that's not a compliment. It's a responsibility. He reached into a drawer. Pulled out a folder. Inside, budget sheets. Logos. Draft proposals. And at the top, the Reyes Initiative, Urban Courage Program pilot. I sat back, speechless. He tapped the folder once. Don't answer now. Just think about it. But know this, whatever happened that day on Crescent Drive, that was only the start. 2 weeks later, I said yes. Not because of the money, though there was plenty of that. Not because of the title, though I now had one printed on a brushed steel plaque outside an office that still felt too big for me. I said yes because I remembered what it felt like to stand at the edge of a burning house and move forward. And I wanted to build something that taught others how to do the same. The Reyes Initiative started small. A pilot program in 3 neighborhoods, one downtown, one in the East Industrial Zone, and one in a suburb that still pretended bad things didn't happen to good people. We trained locals in first response, evacuation protocols, fire safety, CPR. We built supply caches, mobile command kits, translated guides into 6 languages. We worked with churches, rec centers, community leaders. And the best part? None of it felt like charity. It felt like preparation, like power. 6 months in, we ran a full drill, controlled fire, staged casualties, full emergency simulation. Kids watched their parents run toward danger with confidence. Teenagers learned to check pulses. One 10-year-old stopped a fake bleed faster than some rookie EMTs. We caught it on camera. It went viral. Again. But this time, it wasn't about me. It was about what came after me. And that mattered more than any headline. I still drive the Honda. Still wear my old hoodie sometimes. I still get stopped in coffee shops. Hey, you're the guy. Yeah, I say. That was me. But they don't know the whole story. They don't know that I still get shaky when I smell smoke. That sometimes, I wake up to phantom heat and need to check the stove 3 times just to calm down. They don't know that I visit Crescent Drive once a month and leave a small white flower by the sidewalk. They don't know that the little girl, Alyssa, is doing great. She sent me a drawing last week. Stick figures. Me, her, and a dog named Toast that she swears I'm destined to adopt. But most of all, they don't know I almost didn't stop. And that one small choice, an instinct, a twitch, a refusal to drive away, changed everything. That's the truth of it. We don't always know what moment we'll be remembered for. But when it comes, God help us if we don't step into the fire. Because sometimes the world doesn't need a hero. Sometimes it just needs someone who doesn't run.